I'm doing my speech on public education versus public education. And private education is more efficient than public education. My first claim is, compared to public education, private education produces superior results. And in a June 2012 report, NCES found that private school students score higher on standardized tests and had more demanding grades, graduation requirements, and sent more graduates to college than public schools. During my research, I looked at a couple private schools in the area and public schools. I took account of St. John Bosco Modern Day, Oaks Christian, Downey High School, and Santa Fe, and looked at all the requirements they had for graduation. By comparing the graduation requirements from the 3 private schools and the 2 public schools, the private schools required more semesters done for some subjects than public schools. They also had religion and community service requirements. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, schools and staffing survey of 1990-2000, 99.3% of students who attended private schools graduated compared to the 88% of public high school students. Some 93% of private school students went on to 4-year college compared to 35% of all public high school students in 1999 and 2000. The report said the students who had completed at least the 8th grade in the private schools were twice as likely as other students to graduate from college as young adults. NCES statistics also show that students in private schools are much more likely than others to take advanced level high school courses. My second claim, private education provides significant advantages for many families. For the parents of more than 6 million children, the choice is private education. They chose a private education for many reasons, which quality academics, a safe and orderly environment, and moral and ethical values were the common reasons cited. Students thrive when allowed to learn in a safe and supportive environment. Joint reports by the NCES and the Bureau of Justice Statistics in the private study of the Horatio Alger Association have found that private school students are significantly more likely than others to feel safe and be safe in their schools. Lastly, private education closes the achievement gap. In standardized tests designed to measure how well American youth are prepared to meet their citizenship responsibilities, students in private schools scored higher than public schools. Gap between minority students and majority students are narrower than private schools. According to NCES, minority students in private schools are more than twice as likely to enter a 4-year college than their counterparts in a public school, making private schools the nation's greatest hope for boosting minority participation in society from boardroom to classroom. Therefore, from all the information that I've given, private education is what most students would choose, what America wants students to do so they can go to a 4-year college.
All right, there you go.
All right, Brandi, you just start with an identification of the topic. I think you could use a little bit more of an attention device. And then your proposition, look, I was listening for it, and I knew what your proposition was, but you rushed over it. I think you need to label it and make it fairly explicit to the audience what you're saying. And as you probably caught yourself saying it in the last part, you did the same thing at the beginning. You know, I'm thinking pirate education. I'm going to go and learn yo-ho, yo-ho. You know, and that's partly because you're rushing. That's another reason that you want to have an attention device, because it gives you a chance to get into the speech before you're getting to the key issues. There's no preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. Remember, you're supposed to give us a roadmap of what the content is, and you didn't have anything like that. We could use a little bit more background on why there's a controversy on this. Why should we be listening to this argument? Is it related to a debate that's going on about policy? Is it a complaint that parents have had? Is it just something from your own experience that you wanted to share with us? I think a little more context would be helpful. Now, internally, you signpost the secondary points pretty clearly. The first one you rushed into because it was right at the beginning of the speech and you delved into it, but you did signpost it. And then the second and the third points were also labeled. We got a numerical signpost and a pretty clear declarative sentence on each of those points, so I didn't think there was a problem there. The transitions could be a little bit smoother, but it was clear where you were. On the first point, you had quite a bit of evidence. The schools comparison, this data needs to be explained a little bit more, because it sounds like you use several schools in the area, but I don't know where you got the information about those schools' requirements. If it's on their website, that's perfectly fine. If you call them up and ask them, that's not really appropriate, because it has to be something that's accessible for other people. You later had some information about SAT tests and graduation rates and those sorts of things, and you usually had a source citation for those, and I thought you did a good job on that. The second and the third points had the least amount of information on them, and so I think it's a little bit hard to make the generalizations that you're doing on those particular points. The first point, I could see the generalization that you're making, but I think you're going to discover when the response speaker talks that there might be another explanation for those particular results. So you need to be thinking about what proves that the results are a consequence of them being in private schools as opposed to something else, like the fact that they come from wealthy families, or that they're more motivated, or that the schools can be selective about who they include, those kinds of things. All right, thank you, and thank you for being first. We all appreciated that.